Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. I am Maria. I am your host, and you are on Yachting International Radio. I'd like to introduce my guest today, David Gates from SuperYacht Rubbish. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Maria.
Well, thanks for coming on board with us today. I was lucky enough to meet you, I guess it's been about a couple months back.
Yeah, the carpool karaoke incident. Yeah.
A little bit of background on that. It was quite funny because we were planning on meeting for coffee, and parking in Palma is, well, notorious for non-existent parking. And so he picked me up, and we were literally driving all over Palma looking for a place to go for coffee. And I think we spent an hour.
Oh, we got turned away from at least 3 car parks, didn't we? And then it was literally doing an interview in the car. I said I should have set up GoPros all around the car.
Well, we had the greatest conversation, and I mean, thank God we didn't sing because. But maybe next time we'll give that a shot and do it live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anything is possible here at Yachting International Radio. You never know what's going to happen next.
Well, yeah, you've caught me in my office for probably about the 5th week of this year because I've been traveling so much lately, and I always love getting over to Palma. It's like a second home to me, and yeah, very lucky that I've got lots of friends there and industry colleagues, and obviously there's a lot of boats in the water for me to go and see and survey and introduce my devices to. So it's always nice to get out and see clients. Yeah,
you do travel quite a bit. Let's start off and tell me a bit about yourself. Where were you sort of raised and where are you based?
I'm a Londoner, so I was born and raised in London. Fell into a job which was working with Martin Redmayne, who runs what was called the Yacht Report magazine at the time in the year 2000. And I was a fresh-faced 19-year-old. And I was the 4th person in the business. And I started off very much at the bottom in the admin kind of database role. But in that role, you get to learn a lot about the industry. You got to learn a lot about who the players were, who the companies were, what yachts were. And it was a great company to work for and a great education. It was kind of an incubator of a company. We grew it over 10 years to over 50 people. And it was really, really a great experience. And because of the people I met, because of the knowledge I gained, I set up my own business called Complete Yacht Solutions in 2010. Which was really aimed at being a middleman connecting manufacturers with buyers for super yachts, and I helped various products break into big shipyards, mainly using my connections into Lursen, Aberking, Ocean Co, etc. And then about 2.5-3 years ago, manufacturer of a small vacuum device in Germany contacted me, asking me to install his device on my yacht, which obviously I don't have, but my LinkedIn profile is probably a bit misleading. And I said no, but I'd like to sell it to yachts. And because one of the things I learned while I was at the Yacht Report magazine from crew is that bin juice, this smell of the rubbish deteriorating on board vessels, is a real big issue, thrown into an issue which is storage. There's no storage for a lot of these day-to-day kind of factors that happen on board vessels, and rubbish and storage of anything is a real challenge on board, even the biggest yachts in the world. And I've been lucky enough to supply that vacuum device to over 70 yachts now.
Well, and this helps the environment as well. I mean, one thing that we're really passionate about here at Yachting International Radio is the environment and sort of the impact that we have as individuals and, businesses and yachts, etc. We can try our hardest to make sure that every choice we make is the correct choice, but sometimes it's difficult to do that, especially on a yacht. So with your product, I've seen stories in the past, cruise ships, notoriously, we've seen videos on social media of cruise ships dumping their waste off the back of the cruise ship straight into the ocean. A product such as yours will make that not necessary.
Well, the cruise ships like Carnival Cruise Lines have been finding a lot of money recently because someone filmed a crew member throwing rubbish into the water and stood right next to the incinerator that was supposed to be burning all the rubbish. And that shows you the problem with the whole plastic issue and waste management. We kind of cop out when we call plastic evil, or plastic doesn't throw itself in the water. That cruise line didn't get fined because those bins magically jumped into the water. It's a human behavior issue.
Yeah.
And until we start facing up to that fact and start investing in the right facilities and infrastructure to handle our waste, then we'll always be making bad decisions. We'll always be having rubbish getting into waterways and yachts in particular. Because my machine shrinks and seals bags, the very heavy duty plastic. What it means is that plastic is being used to be able to take the bags back to the marina and hopefully have adequate facilities there to recycle or dispose of that waste.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, what is the percentage, do you think, of marinas around the world that actually do have proper facilities to take care of the waste?
It's very hard to say because obviously there's a lot of marinas around the world. I've visited quite a lot of them. I spend a lot of time going to marinas, and I always look into this issue, and especially in the Western Med, everything's driven by regulation, and the regulation is very much open to interpretation and minimalist. So which is adequate reception facilities need to be provided to yachts when they visit the marina. And if you interpret that as a marina, you're always generally going to go for the lowest costs. Mm-hmm. So they may even, some marinas put recycling stations for red, green, yellow and blue bags into marinas, but then the contract they have with the municipal supplier is to just pick it up with one lorry and take it to landfill.
Yeah.
So many crew on yachts are so really dedicated to making a difference and trying to recycle and trying to make sure that rubbish is not getting into the water. Or as one captain said to me, I love your machine because I'm not going to end up leaving 100 black bags on some little island somewhere.
Yeah.
So my big challenge now is if boats are using my machine, they're taking them back to the marina. Let's see if we can help change the marina's facilities and contracts, not through coercion, but through just investigative work. And I've started this campaign called the Clean Superyacht Marina Campaign, which is very much looking at finding out what is in the marinas, finding out what the contracts are, and then talking to the marinas with the support of some big, owning companies, the yacht managers, the brokers, some yacht owners in particular. It is changing that for good, the better. And one issue that we get all the time, and it's the same with all of us in the world, is where does the rubbish go? And that question mark is one I'm trying to really get to the bottom of.
Well, and I mean, it doesn't just happen in the marinas. I mean, I know for a simple fact that I do spend an awful lot of time on social media as a result of the job that I do. But I have seen videos around the world of people videoing where the bins are, where they've had to put all their recyclables, and then one truck comes and picks everything up. So, we as, an entire population are trying to do the best job that we can. And sometimes that's really difficult. I mean, you take a look at certain items and, the packaging, it's like a combination of tin foil with plastic, with paper, and how do you take that apart in order to recycle it?
Well, like I say, plastic's not evil. Plastic isn't throwing itself in the water, but there are products that are not recyclable. So in the UK, for instance, in the supermarkets, you can buy tomatoes and they're all on black plastic. Mm-hmm. And you ask the designers, why are they on black plastic? Because black plastic can't be processed by the recycling, goes straight into landfill. And you say, because the tomatoes look really good, the red looks really good against the black. But that's not good enough anymore. And I've seen it in supermarkets in the UK now, changing. They're all in clear recyclable packaging, and it's really starting to change, which is great. And we need to get to a point where plastic is seen as a good product, a fantastic product, as long as we can recycle it and as long as we can get rid of it in a way that's not going to pollute the ocean. There's a shop in my local area, which is a plastic-free shop. And the lady who runs it, Kate, she's found out that if you dispose of plastic bags in the right way, you recycle them, you'd have to use a paper bag 175 times for it to be as ecologically friendly as the plastic bag. So all the pollution of the paper bag is at the beginning of its life, which is out of sight of the consumer. The cutting down of the wood, the transportation, and importantly, the chemicals that all of the wood is flushed with to turn into paper, is hugely damaging to local infrastructure and rivers.
Well, and I mean, I think that probably is the biggest problem that we have as a population, is that we are not adequately educated. We are so quick to jump on board, what the news and television and radio and social media is telling us. And we don't actually take the time. We're too lazy to do the research for ourselves. So we are jumping on board this bandwagon. I mean, I know even in the local grocery stores here, you go in and now they've switched to paper bags. And as you say, paper bags are more harmful than the plastic.
How would the consumer know that? It's something that it's a one-use material.
Yeah.
And this is the argument against biodegradable bags at the moment, is that everyone's saying, oh, we need to have biodegradable bags. What biodegradable bags are at the moment, and the type of bags that are produced, are really not that good for the environment. They're much worse than plastic because they break down a lot quicker into microplastics. So you by swapping out from one thing which we can manage and we can make work, we're opening up all these Pandora's boxes of potential issues which we don't understand the consequences of, and we will be and it could be very expensive and bad for the environment.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because you take a look. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, paper bags were the thing, but they weren't just one use, because we literally took them and we covered our books at school so that they would be good for the next year. I mean, we literally utilized everything that came in our door. I mean, we still had, now I'm dating myself now, but we still had bottles of milk. We're
going back to that in the UK now, definitely. It's glass is recyclable. But then glass, like I sell glass crushers to yachts, and what crew don't really understand, and a lot of people don't understand, is that glass isn't just glass anymore. Plastic is plastic reinforced or has other types of elements in it. So you're not necessarily just crushing glass, you're crushing plastic as well. Plastic has made its way into a lot of products because it is such a fantastically good product. And the problem is we don't want it in our water anymore. And this Clean Marina campaign is a small part of it, and we're in an industry which we're not, the money in this industry isn't always what is perceived to be in terms of the operation of boats, but the people who own these boats can really make change happen much quicker than most people. And by getting them on side and supporting this campaign and taking an active part in it, I really hope to get change to happen in the super yacht industry, which hopefully will then grow the momentum in these places like France and Italy and Croatia and Montenegro and all these places to actually bring a focus on the wider population in terms of recycling and waste disposal.
Well, because I imagine if the super yacht owners became, proponents of this campaign, their purchasing power, as it were, would be incentive for the marinas definitely to make the right choices.
Well, the crew tell me that we recycle all the time on board into coloured bags. We put them into the bins at the marina, and then one lorry comes along and takes it away. And they tell me their hearts sink. They say, "Why should we bother recycling?" Such a bad thing for the industry to be saying. And I've spoken to maybe 500 plus yachts over the last 3 years. And I hear the same story from every 3 yachts, really. It's a big problem and something which I'm starting the campaign, but I'm trying to get on board lots of big players to play their part. I don't want to be the face of it, but I think as an industry, we need to focus and funnel it through one campaign to make it really work.
Now, everyone nowadays is really concerned about cost. What will the cost impact be if, the Clean Marinas campaign really takes off? Is there going to be an increased cost, or is it just sort of an increased cost to begin with, and in long term, it actually...
It's a really good question. It depends. A big movement in the UK. I live and work, my office is in the UK, I have families in the UK, so I'm very UK centric in terms of my local knowledge. Big move towards waste to energy risk management, which is in Denmark. They've recently opened a waste to energy plant, which has a ski slope on it and has is basically a positive to the community. So you're not just hiding this big ugly, and they've got offices in there. the architecture around this kind of stuff should really be for the people, not just, and if you can provide clean, renewable energy from burning and the waste, then that is definitely the way to go forward, I think, because the value is really paid back to the wider community.
Yeah. And hopefully this will be something that is implemented on land. I mean, of course, marinas will be land, but, you know, for the population that isn't necessarily anything to do with yachting.
Get this. So one of the things I hear a lot is in places like Italy, when boats are at anchor in Sardinia, lots and lots of yachts go to Sardinia in the summer. And one of them was telling me recently they got really stung for little boats which come out to the yacht and collect rubbish. So they charge a per bag fee, and that can be anything between 5 and 25, 30 euros per bag.
Wow.
And that fee means the boat can save a lot of money because they can put in my big 100-litre bags, 3 to 4 bags, and then they're not paying for 3 bags. So it can save this huge yacht thousands and thousands of euros a month while they're there. The big issue about that is when these third-party people who no one knows who they are, where does that rubbish go?
Yeah.
You know, it's mainly probably going around the headlands and being burnt or dumped in the water.
Yeah.
And as an industry, we can't accept that anymore, I don't think. And I really think we've got to take up a grown-up approach to this and look at these things from beginning to end.
Well, I mean, for sure, because the thing is, though, it's interesting because when you look at sort of the attitudes of some people, you see some people saying that this whole climate change issue and what we're doing to it's just sort of a campaign built up, but it's not true and it's not real. And it's a campaign built up to just scare the population, and somebody's made it up in order to make more money for themselves. No matter what is going on behind the scenes, I think in general, we really do have to take a look at changing the way we look at how we live. It is possible to continue to live exactly the way we do now.
Well, I learned a long time ago, if you're talking to yachties who are generally engineering minded, especially engineers, you don't talk green, you don't talk ecological, you talk efficient.
Yeah.
And what we have to get to is efficiency of product and systems. And that I can only play a small part in that, but I need the support of the industry to do it. And that's really going to be the plea for the Clean Marina campaign is let's try and make a difference. As an industry, let's give back and be a good force for a change. Right.
And where do you see the Clean Marina campaign going, say, in the next 2 years?
It's very hard. It's just started. I was in Mallorca last week and I met up with a good friend of mine called Brad Robertson, who runs a foundation called Save the Med. And it turns out Brad's done a huge amount of work on waste management facilities in Mallorca. I very much think what he's doing with Save the Med is a fantastic charity. And it's certainly one I'll be supporting through my SuperYacht Rubbish business. But there's potential collaboration there to use Mallorca as the first initial case, because there's so much empirical data we have already in terms of products and waste facilities. And there are so many yachts there. It's such a huge hub. It's a great place to start.
Right. Well, for those of you who don't know, Ondine Association is now Save the Med. For years, it was marketed as Ondine Association, and Brad Robertson has been instrumental in really raising awareness for the environment and the water, the seas, the beaches, et cetera. He does beach cleans, all sorts of things. Huge campaigner for the environment. So the fact that you are working with him on this, I think, is absolutely brilliant.
Well, it's just like the stars seem to align sometimes, and what the message between all of us now is it's great talking about these things. Let's actually get it done.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen, because in our industry, we can spend all day talking about things. Let's do it. And
if people want to be part of it, do they just contact you through LinkedIn or email, website?
Yeah, well, they can contact me through LinkedIn. I'm quite a well-known face on LinkedIn, but David at SuperYachtRubbish.com, David at CompleteYachtSolutions.com, or visit www.superyachtrubbish.com. I will be launching a Clean Marina website soon.
Right.
As a focal point for this, to show the support and for people to register their interest in supporting it. But that'll come in the next week or so.
And with that website, if people don't really, if they're onshore support, for example, they're not on yachts, is there a way that they can help with the campaign through financial donations or that kind of thing?
Absolutely, that's the future. That's something we have to look at doing. But obviously, we have to set up the business to be able to do that. And my main business is SuperYacht Rubbish, which is paying for my life and my family and all these kind of things. But I'm happy to put a percentage of my week into this.
Right.
And I'm hearing a lot of messages from a lot of big stakeholders in the industry, whether they're associations or yacht managers. They're all talking about this at the moment, and we're at a tipping point of talking, and we need someone to tip it over the edge, and hopefully I can be the person pushing that.
So basically what you need to do is give a good swift kick to get it going.
Well, with marinas, they are doing what's best for their business, which is completely right. But it's got to a point now where, from a perception point of view, the superyacht industry can be very viewed very badly.
Yeah.
If we can, from a perception side, improve the waste management facilities, be seen to be making a difference, hopefully impact wider society, then it's a good story to tell, and it's one hopefully they won't argue too much about. Well,
I want to sort of leave this interview off on a positive note. Is there any marina that you have ever come across that is going sort of above and beyond and doing 100% better than all the other marinas out there? Have you come across a marina that is really giving their 100%?
Not really, no. It's very, very hard to pinpoint one that I visited recently. I know in Italy, the local governments there have banned black bags in Italy, so you have to have clear bags, which is great. As the Italian Marina Federation said this, a client of mine sent me a WhatsApp message telling me this last summer, and that's a good move in the right direction. What we don't want to do is we don't want to make changes in individual marinas. We want to look at maybe changing waste management plans on yachts that link up with what the port reception facilities are in marinas.
Right.
And then the contracts which pick up those, so that if a boat goes into a marina, they know exactly what they have to do. They know exactly where it's going. And even to a point where, from a yacht management perspective, you know where it's going.
Right. So it has to be a chain. It's right on through down the line.
I think so, yeah. And it's going to be hard in places like the Caribbean. It's going to be hard in places. I was in Antigua last year at the charter show, and I know the local government are investing hugely in recycling facilities. So it's great to see people making the change. It's about the coordination and funneling it in the right way now.
Well, how many yachts have your vacuum machine on at this point?
I've just done 6 deals this week, so I need to look at the numbers, but it's over 70 yachts, and they range between 33 meters and 147 meters.
Yeah.
And the benefit of using the device, very small device, is it eliminates bin juice, this smell of waste management, which can really pollute vessels. You can save a lot of time in terms of tender runs, because you can store much more rubbish on board. You can space your tender runs out from one a day, which most yachts are doing when they're at anchor, one tender trip per day, just to get the rubbish off because it smells so bad.
Yeah.
You can spread that out to 5, 6, 7, 8, 14 days now. I've got a yacht going through the Northwest Passage at the moment, and the captain's seeing how long you can keep in that really highly environmentally area, can keep the rubbish on board. So I hope to get to over 100 boats by the end of this year. The signs are right in that way. And the great thing about the machines is they're crew centric, and they save the owners money. They improve the workload on boards, and they don't involve problems. I've sold 70 odd, and I've had no real warranty issue. Well,
I mean, the great thing about that is, it's like you said, the savings isn't just in the bags of rubbish that they've got to pay to take off the yacht. The savings also is in time management. And the fact that if you've got crew that are having to take the tender, you've got gas, you've got wear and tear on the tender, and you also have those hours that are being spent.
Oh, absolutely. And they can be repositioned into more productive areas. And it's amazing how a small device like this can really change the operation of a boat. It means the boat can go much further afield, doesn't have to be so close to marinas. It means crew are repurposed into doing that. Tenders don't get clocked, so you can use your tenders for other things. Some yachts as well, it's absolutely disgraceful. They only have one tender on board, which is the owner's tender. So they transport all the rubbish in this €500,000, €2 million tender. Some yachts keep their degrading food waste in their air conditioning rooms. So guests are smelling this lovely decomposing waste.
And it goes throughout the entire yacht.
I don't think I'd want to spend €300,000 on a charter on that boat, to be honest.
No kidding.
Yeah, and generally these things like storage on board for waste management, for all, even the machines being used by crew to overwinter and long-term store things like crew uniforms, linens, towels. So on some yachts, I'm installing two machines, one in the waste management room and one in the laundry, because you get a 60% reduction in size, and because they're sealed, they're waterproof and completely environmentally free. So even engineers are using it to store long-term spares.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask. I mean, we all know the space is extremely limited on every single yacht, and especially when it comes to the essentials, because, yachts are designed to be opulent and large spaces for the owners. But a lot of the times what is sort of the space that is sort of ripped off, as it were, would be crew space. And I mean, even the galley in some beautiful super yachts, the galley is tiny.
Plating up. There's never enough plating up space.
Yeah.
Guests.
But I mean, for you, how big is, I mean, you talk about how the machine is small, but how small is the machine? Like, can you give us the size parameters?
Yeah, it's all on the website for the exact dimensions.
Right.
It's small enough that I can fit in the back of my SUV.
Okay.
And I often take it around to marinas and fly it into a country, and then have a hire car that I can fit into an estate car. It's very, very small. And we've split the machine in two recently for smaller boats, which we call the modular device, which is the actual bar you put on the wall is only 200 mil deep. And then you can hide the main box, which is where all the pumps are in there. And I have new machines coming, like a machine that turns food waste to grey water. And I'm hopeful to get the first installation of that happening very soon.
Well, it all sounds really positive, and I think, the fact that not only are you enabling yachts to properly dispose of their rubbish, but as well, you're taking that extra step to start this program with the Clean Superyacht Marina Campaign. And thank you for that, because I think that the more people that jump on board and come up with these ideas, the quicker we'll be able to move forward with these types of clean, environmentally friendly movements within the yachting industry.
It's just things that make sense. It makes sense that rubbish doesn't get in the water, and as an industry that is built on enjoying the water, how ridiculous that we're still leaving, bags on 100 bags on a little island somewhere, or not knowing where the rubbish is going. That's scandalous, I think, now, from an image perspective. So it's a big challenge. It's not going to be easy. We're going to come up against big hurdles, but I think working with the right people, being polite, being not demanding is really the way to go.
Well, and I think the key, you just said it right there, the key is not being militant, because I think a lot of people do tend to get turned off when you get angry about something. I mean, I've seen movements around the world for various different things. The minute it starts becoming one of those anger-fueled movements, people really do get turned off. So, with the approach that you have, and the friendly approach, and working together, and I think that will take it a long way.
Oh, thank you.
So best of luck, and I thank you so much for coming on board with us. I'm going to make sure to post all of your information, so if people are interested not only in SuperYacht Rubbish and the machine that you do sell in order to help yachts, but as well the Clean Superyacht Marina Campaign. They'll be able to contact you and find out more about it. Good luck with everything.
Thank you, Rhea. Thank you for your opportunity today. It's great. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the radio show. And,
thank you.
I hope it goes well. And thank you very much.
Thank you. That's David Gates from SuperYacht Rubbish, and as well Clean Superyacht Marina Campaign. If you're interested in anything that he spoke about today, we will make sure to have that information available for you right here on Yachting International Radio. Thank you very much for joining us on Coffee and Conversation with our guest, David Gates.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time for another episode of Coffee and Conversation with Rhea right here on Yachting International Radio.
Thank you, Rhea. Bye-bye.